Hey guys, welcome to Illumineer's Workshop.
Today we're going to be looking at the North American Championship Top 16 deck profiles. We're going to be starting with the blue-red profiles.
I think that no surprise that the blue-red was the most popular deck in the top 16. A lot of people I talked to said they were expecting a lot of blue-red, so it's not too terribly surprising to see.
Yeah, and this list has
just one Queen of Hearts.
Yeah, and this ended up second for the day, which is interesting. You know, 2 Sisu, pretty standard, especially for mirror matches. You want to hit that with the high room. And 2 5-drop Mauis, but we have 4 6-drop Mauis, which is crazy.
It's probably, and going down here, there's probably going to be some good actions that you can recast with that Maui Shark. So
yeah,
being able to recast your one of Hideaway.
It is crazy the Hideaway,
brawls, Visions of the Future. You know, you just get to find all the cards you want.
And how many was you running? Like 10 items, 13 actions.
13 actions, and then 7 songs.
Yeah, so.
And we're on 9 items in this list. 2 Vitalosphere, which is super cool. Love that. Vitalosphere plus Sisu that can knock out a genie. If I'm not
it's like it's insane.
It's a +3, correct? No, it's just +2. Never mind.
But it's crazy to where are Medusas? Why are they out of the format? It's insane to me.
I mean, I think recasting Pirate's Life does more like lore gain and just like trying to win. And you had pointed this out to me earlier, but 14 uninkables. The deck's like very consistent. Like you used to see blue-red decks that pushing 20, 21 and saying that they wanted more uninkables.
Yeah.
Now there's no Fishbone Quill, and people are a little bit more cautious with Sail.
Oh, but yeah, it looks like a consistent deck. Yeah, congrats to Scott.
Yeah, good job, Scott. Next, we have another blue-red list on the same kind of scheme from what I've seen, but looks like Queen of Hearts is up. 3 Queen of Hearts, and ooh, this is a cute card. Yeah. I like this card a lot.
Goofy Flying Goof. I mean, that gets rid of an Elsa, and that also gets rid of Genie with, ability to survive on top of it, so...
Yeah, just having more evasive in your decks is just more and more relevant.
How many cards is...
Ended up in 4th place with this, and also no Medusas, but on the Hades path, where it's I get a body that quests for 2, and I put one of your guys away. It's better than let it go, because I'm not really singing with a ton of 5-costers. You'd rather be attacking with Maui. And then a bunch of actions. Another cute card, go the distance.
I didn't see this earlier.
I mean, it's a cantrip, inkable. It does the thing that some people were doing with the
singing too. You can challenge and then sing. Broken.
With Maui, you have an incentive to play actions over items. 3 B preps, 2 lucky dimes, 1 Great Stone Dragon.
Yeah, it's needed
3
for
ice
the
block.
Ruby Amethyst matchup, for sure.
Less ice blocks, because realistically you're only using it to make your brawls and 3-cost Caesars better.
Yeah.
You're not really even using... I mean, you could use it to make one of your attacks more profitable too. Maui doesn't die.
How many cards is he running?
As much things.
Does it say on the top?
72 cards with 20 uninkables.
Yeah, he's known for not running 60. I remember.
And the Go the Distance shows, the Grammatalas, the things that, getting to repeat playing Visions of the Future with the Maui is just insane, because you're just guaranteeing you're going to look at the next 5 cards of your deck. So you're probably going to find that B prep, that Tamatoa, that Sisu to get you out of a jam, that Goofy. You're only playing 2 Goofies and 3 Mauis, but when you need to see them, you'll see them because of your Visions of the Future and getting to cycle through them. On to the next one, a more traditional 60 card and 16 uninkables, so up on the inkables compared to its 2nd place counterpart, and Sean's in 6th place. So we got a ton of blue-red in this top 16. We'll just kind of in the third deck. We'll kind of graze over this, but the small intricacies do make a difference on the playstyle of the deck. You know, having these hideaways to get to loop them against locations or items that are pains, and how many Pirates Lives you play, how many Lucky Dimes. Those do matter on, like, you know, what things you end up inking early on in the game.
For sure.
Only having 2 B preps, you must be a little bit more conscious about inking the B preps off of your depots.
I mean, 16 is a good uninkable count. I mean, if you do it right, you shouldn't work many times.
Out of 60 for sure. There's a lot less cantrips though, so you're gonna probably see the Hiram plus item. I think that's the idea behind having more than 60. It's like you're gonna just cantrip until you find your Hiram plus your item, so that way you can start generating like a ton of card value. But Maui Shark seems to be seeing a lot more play in all these blue-red decks. I believe Maui Shark's been in him. This is what it seems like a staple in blue-red now. And then moving on to Matthew, who got 7th. Very similar strategy. Does have a pretty cool card in there, a Prince John. I know Mark was championing this card, so he knows
Prince
a little
John.
more.
I mean, we have to see the items if we're gonna look at the Prince John.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see if there's gonna be something spicy in there.
Yeah,
So a lot less actions, even though you're playing Maui Shark, and so you know, not the craziest slew of items, but a lot of items.
I mean, it's good because Medusa's not in format, at least with blue-red. So that means Ruby Amethyst is probably the only ones playing it. Hopefully. So then it's like, it kind of is guaranteed to survive now. In a sense of, like, before it wasn't really.
Maybe if they ice block plus brawl it, you know, they're kind of up anyway.
But yeah, I mean, interesting. I mean, playing any of those items for free seems good to me.
And on to Pierre in 13th out of 16th with his version of the blue-red. We got a Medusa, so still holding on to the old times of the Medusas. Only getting you in 13th place, though, if you're playing Medusas, you know. Who knows? Today will be more telling. The one hideaway seems very interesting with the Mauis being standard now, because it just gives you an edge against the Lucky Dimes, which makes me think that people will eventually go towards maybe a second Lucky Dime in case it gets hideaway, just to gain that lore. But that's where Pirate's Life feels almost even better than Lucky Diming something, because it's, you know, you can sing it and then play something else and dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, Lucky Dime, you're not always guaranteed to have the right character to gain the lore. Yeah. Or at least Pirate's Life is always guaranteed to.
Yeah. Medusa and Maui Shark and Grammatala, Hiram, they're all one. And then you have the 5-cost Maui. You get nothing off of him. Alright, and on to the last blue-red who got 16th place. Just made it to the cut of the top 16 with a Mulan Rush. 4-cost uninkable.
That's very interesting, especially with the max on Tala too. It's a lot of 4-drops. And the Lady Tremaine.
Lady Tremaine.
Like this list. This is like what I was cooking up. Oh yeah.
Lady Tremaine's.
Oh wow.
And a Ruby Chromacon. I've been.
Oh, I have 4.
4. Oh man! Imagine they slam the 4th McDuck Man against you. You know. And a part you ramp quick enough, you could like get those off pretty quick.
That's ridiculous.
You get up to 8 pretty quickly, and you just slam 2 of those down. Like, what do?
I mean, the crazy thing is, you go 8, you go double manner. 10, maybe you like establish something small. I mean, no, yeah, 8. Imagine once you get to 12, and now you can have maybe like the last edge of the manner surviving, and you go double Pirate's Life. You just gained like 8 lore.
Even if you just have like a Mulan plus a Maui to protect your McDuck Manor, and you just keep them at bay and you just gain 2 every turn, it kind of does that thing where you're just gaining the lore. I like McDuck Manor. It just felt like with all the Mauis and like the 3-cost Sisu, which he's playing in this deck, which is not all the blue reds were playing as well. And only one of the uninkable Sisu, you know. You're in a weird situation where you don't want to play McDuck Manor into a Maui and die immediately, because then you get no value.
Alright, nice blue-red decks. I really like them all. I think it spices up the meta. I don't think anyone honestly was expecting it to do this well. I think they expected the percentage of players showing up playing it, but I didn't expect that many. I was maybe doing like 2 or 3.
To me, I think of the 8-cost Sisu when I think of blue-red now, and as we go into some of these other a little bit more low to the ground decks, I think we're gonna see why it's kind of necessary to either be one of these low to the ground decks or be blue-red in this situation where it's like you need those answers all the time and to be able to double brawl and to shift a Sisu on turns like 5 and like get that advantage, because the aggro decks are more low to the ground and ramp up really quickly, Calhoun's. And segueing into that, we'll start off with Amber Steel lists. So there was 3 Amber Steel lists in the top 16. This first one is by Kurt, playing this low to the ground Happy and Lilo. These cards that we're not used to seeing
John
as much.
Silver. I like that one.
John Silver's insane. So John Silver, 3 costs, inkable, 3/3, quests for 1. And when you play this character, chosen character can't challenge during their next turn. So this gives you protection, almost better than Bodyguard. And it's a decent body.
Well, it's a captain as well. So
yes.
you know, Shmi has the 1 damage. Now they can attack. Maybe Shmi gets 2 damage, and now you're playing that Rapunzel on turn 4. Almost guaranteed.
And Captain Piglet as well. Allowing Mr. Shmi to live longer.
Yeah, Lawrence is a beast.
Lawrence and Pete.
It's a set 2 card, but it's crazy how it's just like good now.
It was just so just so overlooked for so long, and it just doesn't die to so many things, and it kills so many things.
It makes the one trade you don't want to make you have to do another play, which is like an awkward thing instead of like the optimal thing, which is ugh.
Some of these chunky boys like Lawrence and Chenpo are also insane, and even Mr. Shmi, where like Rapunzel is just free and open to draw you extra cards in this pretty aggro deck that, you know, takes advantage. So Rapunzel's Tower, like I just didn't have as much faith in the card, but with Rapunzel and Rapunzel's Tower, you could just draw a ton of cards really easily.
I think also too, like if you're at like 5 ink, you have 3 characters, you know, drop in that, and then.
I'm always leery of a location because this does not gain you passive lore, correct?
No.
So
but in like the right matchup, I think it's really good. Obviously, any red matchup, you're probably inking it. But like in the mirror match of like Songs, how is Songs getting rid of the Chenpo?
True.
Like without having insane like strength of a raging fire,
or just like 3-for-1ing themselves, and then you're exactly where you want to be with your Chenpo and your Rapunzel's Tower,
or
just
you
sitting
take
there
that
gaining
turn
your
off
lore every
to
turn.
Take out the tower, and now they're at 16.
And I mean, Seven Dwarfs Mine feels like such a sleeper card now that some of these knights and you know, just seven dwarfs cards come into play. Like 1 cost Happy just feels so great. You move him to that location, and then you blast a genie for 2, and then you attack with Happy to finish the genie off. Just feels really good, and exactly where you want to be. So on to the next one with Sean's version of Amber Steel.
This is definitely looking more like the song version because we have the Gastons, Ariel, Ursula's.
One of Naveen. You know, I mean the Queen as well. I assume that there's going to be a Shift Queen here, and the Shift Ariel, which feels very good. I played against a deck not long ago in a case tournament where the Ariel was definitely a huge factor I had to play around because it shifts for 4 too.
Yeah,
that's
so
pretty insane. Like that happens quickly.
Yeah.
You already got the value off your Singer Ariel. Maybe you sing 5 with it, but you could still shift it on turn 4 and then sing
now
a
it's
thing.
A 3/8 instead of the 2/3.
You don't get the value off that ability, but it's also a 3/8, so it's more than likely living at least turn 5.
Yeah.
And this World's Greatest Criminal Minds and Along Came Zeus's.
Yeah, you
like,
need
get rid of stuff that you can't normally get rid of with these really good, efficient removal spells where you get these very wonky, one-sided, like lopsided, like this is genie removal, and then World's Greatest Criminal Minds is like Tamatoa removal. It gets rid of the big stuff.
Big Sisu.
And you also get to artificially inflate stuff with your queen, so you get like a lot more range with cards like that.
Yeah, I like this setup. It's too like if I see my whole new world, I win or lose. I feel like for me.
A bit. That's where I also think Lilo should be up on the count. And what do I know? But like also Lilo in the graveyard feels really powerful in those long grindy matchups where you get to bring her back with your whole new worlds.
Yeah.
But 10th place for Sean, and we're going into Justin's list, which got 15th, so just on the cut as well. But very similar, it looks like, with Calhoun's and Happy's. Extra piglets though, trying to sneak in those 3 lures while you have big guys and require them to
this
use
just
removal.
looks like a consistent deck. Like this looks like
man.
you want to go turn 1 this, turn 2 that.
You curve out with Lawrence into Pluto or Gantu on turn 5. It just feels like you like kind of steal games, and you don't go as heavy on the songs because you don't have the Ariels, and you have this consistent 7 Dwarfs Mine removal spells that can pair with these very seldom songs. So I would even call this deck kind of like Amber Steel low to the ground, not even like a song deck really. It has as much songs as non-song decks.
Oh yeah, pretty standard. I like it.
Yeah, it's cool. So moving on, it will be with Zach Bevins and his Purple Steel deck. This is going to be some of the more off the beaten path decks as we go lower and lower on this list. So Purple Steel, not as huge of a meta contender as I thought it would be, but it ended up 2 of the 16. So White
and
Rose.
No dock. That's crazy, right? There was no dock up there.
There's no dock.
Wow.
It looks like, and only 2 genies too. I feel like the stock on that card, you know, people are going back to that. Like in a grindy matchup, you want Rabbit over Genie. You don't want to like eke out those extra lures. You want to draw 2 cards, possibly 3 if you balance it with your foxes and your snakes, and you just get so much card advantage. And that's where the whole new world becomes more better. Like it's just increasing in importance when your opponent is playing a purple deck. They have a million cards in their hand, and then you whole new world them, and you just get rid of all that card. You reset the game in that respect. Not even necessarily restoring your hand, but making them have to discard their good cards. That
what was the 5 drop on this? Oh,
just Elsa's. But you play so many 4 drops that you're always able to sing your Along Came Zeus's and your strings. So a very consistent looking deck. Only 2 White Roses, which is interesting, and like 11 1-drops. That's pretty high on 1-drops, but it's a pretty low to the ground deck. Grabs getting to
I'm actually
value kills.
Looking at the deck like this, I wouldn't have thought it would have done that well.
I mean,
it feels like it needs dock for the draw. But hey, congrats. He's been consistently topping like since Lorcana has been out. So
as you talk about that, the next guy up, he's on 10th place and he's got 4 docks, and 4 White Roses, 4 genies, the Bell package. The Bell package is pretty sweet in those grindy genie matchups with Elsa's, and 1 friends on the other side. You know, not too many draw effects.
1 is ridiculous. Why?
I mean, you do have a lot of 3 drops, but like, you know, you're an aggro deck, so how many times do you want to take off a turn from questing to draw more cards when you can like passively do it by like adding board presence with dock? It feels like they're all going to be in this tight-knit deck, and based on their locations, they're going to have more or less. Because dock is interesting because it's also that, you know, you don't get the added value off that location, the 7 Dwarfs Mine. And so then on to the next deck.
Yeah, the surprise factor, I think, of the whole weekend for a lot of people is 2 Blurple lists topping 12 Uninkables, which sounds amazing. So they're going for the standard basically purple 1-drop package, except maybe 1 less. Sometimes there's 4 Diablo or 4 Broom. The 2 drops are a staple.
Bouncing Tipo even with your 2-drop. Bouncing Rabbits. Replaying your 1 of Bell.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you need the Hades because you need to have answers to the board, and you need Elsa's as well. Same reason.
Shift Elsa can probably get you out of a lot of aggro jams. You being able to ramp into Donald and then maybe even quest with him and bounce him back to your hand.
Yeah,
even if he's just ink, he's just like pretty solid card, 3-4.
One Finders Keepers.
Finders Keepers. I'm loving that card. I love that card for Seattle for red purple tech, and I think that it's a card that doesn't get enough attention. It's inkable, gets you 3 cards for 1. It's pretty good deal. And 3 manners to kind of close out those games.
Yeah,
you get like a really quick start, and you just like slam a manor on turn 4. Now they have to either answer your board or answer the manor.
Mm-hmm.
They can't.
Was there no sales on this? Right.
I don't believe.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say yeah, because then like you go turn 3 manor against the right deck, and you're just gonna win.
Yeah.
See how different this version was.
So this version's a little bit more consistent. Yeah, less brooms, more Diablos, which is fine. I think that guaranteed card draw in this matchup where you're trying to eke out the wins.
Yeah.
3 bells is pretty insane. 3. I wonder if they actually had 3 enchanted Elsas and they had to put it in like that because of that. The 2 Donald deck. I wonder if that's going to be like a standard of these blurper lists where they just need that like turn 5. It's like a 5 cost, but you play it on turn 4 because it has right C or Tipo or what have you.
Yeah.
And the 1 Let It Go.
I like the Let It Go.
Pretty great. Friends on the Other Side, being able to sing that with all the 3 drops you're playing in this deck, and even 4 drops. You sing Friends on a Genie, you're up by a bunch. He's a Genie,
you're feeling good.
Yeah, or rabbits or anything like that.
You're getting to crazy ink, so you're gonna be able to go like Goat Rabbit or like Goat Genie all like way faster than anyone else, and drop both of them.
Interesting that it's at 13 on inkables too, just to make sure that they're hitting their ink drops and ramping. Because realistically, if you ramp and you don't hit your ink drops, you didn't really ramp.
Mm-hmm.
So you're trying to get a bunch of that ink so you can cast big stuff. So we're going to go on to the last 3, which are all like individual decks.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one of these in the top 16s, and the first one will be Zan. He's championing this green steel deck list like it's before Bucky got banned. Very Doc and Ursula's and Muses.
So he added in another Doc. The Calhouns are added in. The Merfolks were added. He cut a singer Ursula. The singer Ursula to take out a song.
Okay.
And he added a singer, like the actual singer one.
1 gogo.
1 gogo, yeah. Hypnotize still.
Yeah. 3 Muses. Oh, I'm Still Here is.
Yeah, I mean, giving folk resist too.
Yeah. Realistically, if you give
with the Hidden Cove is actually ridiculous.
You give Diablo like that first turn that you shifted Diablo and you sing with Diablo, give him resist too. Now he doesn't die to like any of the ways that they would normally kill him early on.
Except red, but
yeah, true. I guess Brawl does kill it. But in that matchup, you're playing red, you're going to try to Hidden Cove instead of I'm Still Here. Exactly. But like in the matchups where it's like Steel or any of these decks that try to like kill your guy, like with a character with evasive, like you could just resist him and Sudden Chills and let Storm Rage on and Strength of Raging Fire. Nice. Pretty good song package, so you can shift your Diablos early. Get a bunch of value. Yeah, no, it looks awesome. I think Green Steel is still a very good deck. It's very technical. I feel like you can make mistakes with a deck like this pretty easily. On to Edmund, who is playing purple red, my favorite.
So as I know, and I might be wrong, but that means 2 first place winners of prior DLCs are in the top 16, being Zan and Ed.
It's about consistency, and if you're consistently performing really well, in a small tournament like this where you probably know a lot of the players and kind of what they're already playing already, you can have a bit of an edge.
Yeah, this looks like a very standard list. Nothing really new. I mean, 4 Lady Tremaine is pretty crazy.
Two big Sisu feels like a choice. Like you can't always, but you have the 4 3-cost Sisu and the Flynn Rider package. So the Shift Sisu feels natural to add it to the deck, and 4 B preps just like good old days, and 4 libraries, which seems to be replacing Queen's Castle as time goes on, just because you can guarantee the card draw, and if they're trying to destroy your creatures, you're going to guarantee. Sometimes they just get rid of the, if you play a castle, you move guys to it, the castle doesn't see your next turn, so then you don't draw cards. Versus if you put guys to the library and you commit those guys, you're going to get that card draw. Even if they get rid of
especially with Ruby Amethyst was going to be projected one of the top 3 decks. So if you're going to play a bunch of mirrors during the day, like rather guarantee that they might get taken out of library, draw a card, than exactly what you said. Castle getting taken out, and then you don't get any draw.
Probably for the same reason we're seeing a lot of decks playing the Micdoc Manor, is that in that blue-red mirror, it's hard to take out the... you need that Maui. You need that big Maui to smash into the locations, and if you just don't have it, the library can take away a few lore for the red-purple deck, draw them a few cards, and sometimes that's really all they need when they have 4 Lady Tremaines and 4 B-Preps in the deck, and they're just getting rid of your Tamatoas and starting to beat you out. So... and then finally, we have the lucky individual that was in first place at the end of all this, with Olaf's set 1, just 1 3s in their deck to just play a concoction of purple 1-drops alongside 4 Cursed Merfolk and 4 Pegasus. Just so low to the ground. This is insane. Literally.
The meta has shifted so quickly, and I like that, they have Sir Hiss in here for the 3-1 to get rid of Diablo.
For Gogo.
They also like Yugo, Pegasus, Sir Hiss. Like, that takes out a genie, So you probably got 2 or 3 lore and could take out a genie.
Something that I love about Gogo is that she is both a 2-drop and a 4-drop, and she's inkable. Yeah. So she serves basically 3 functions. She can be your 2-drop, she can be a nasty 4-drop, or she can be ink in a situation where you don't want either of those other 2 things. And that just feels like such a versatile card. Feels like it will be a staple in most green decks that play it.
Yeah.
Prince Philip is the talk of the town, just a 3-2 with Ward.
We saw the Lady Tremaines in Ed's list, and I think another blue-red list, so there are some outs. People are expecting the Ward, but other than that, it's like, okay, what else are you going to do?
You're just gonna, in that late game scenario, you play Prince Philip and you have a Lyle, you just guarantee the 2 lore, or you're gonna make them lose a lore.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Only 2 of the Pegasus, you're playing 4 1-drop Pegasus, and then only 2 of the Shift Pegasus, which is interesting to me. You'd think you'd want to hit those evasives off the shift.
It's probably because your 3-drop is you have to play Kit to get rid of some things that are threatening you sometimes, or to bring them back. You probably
also have a bunch of other 3 foxes and crabs and
you have a bunch of 3, so it's really just probably for holding it for those late game scenarios where they're like, oh, I have this, and you're like, nope, actually now I have 3 evasive.
There's no way you can attack this. And also, giving the evasive to the Ward Prince Philip seems pretty nasty. But no actions or songs, it looks like, in this deck. It's just straight characters.
Elsa or Belle. They definitely took the way low to the ground approach, which I think was correct.
Yeah, you just have a bunch of evasives or Cursed Merfolks, and they don't know really what to answer, and you just try to throw them off by having kits. I could have even seen this deck maybe play a couple less 2 or 1-drops and play the Befuddle just to get ahead in that very early game and just get under their skin. But obviously they did really well without any actions in the deck, and it seems like they'll probably do well today, and we'll see what deck comes out on top.
Yeah.
So welcome back, guys. Thanks for staying to the end. We've got the results of the Disney Lorcana North American Championship 2025. It is 4 different decks too in the top 4, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and if you made it this far, that means you're at the end of the video, and we thank you for sticking around, and you're going to hear our discussions on the top 4 decks.
Yes, thank you. So let's start things off with Patrick Cope, who I think has the most interesting of the top 4. Purple Steel seems to be doing some pretty cool things.
It's just so quick, and the fact that all those one drops are getting you a draw, you're replacing your hand, and then with that, you're gonna be searching for the dock and your extra lore gain. So it's like seems pretty consistent.
Even just being able to recycle cards like Doc with Madam Mim Fox and Snake
Mhm.
feels really, really good. Pete and the 3 drops seem like great. Um,
Yeah, especially if Medusas are coming out of right, like the blue red list, like the one he was playing in the top four. Like he's not playing Medusa. I mean, we know that he did beat him, so maybe he didn't need Medusa. But you know, um, back in the day, that's what would take stuff out. Also, opting no actions, right?
yeah. This was the or oh sorry,
Oh
this was
yeah,
no action one. This one has just one friends and then
yes,
strength. So interesting. I mean, those are 5 good actions to have. Um, Only 3 Calhouns is interesting too, because it's like one of those cards. It's really, really good, but it's also uninkable, and it can be a little much sometimes. So like, especially if you have docks, also an uninkable 2 drop, where your hand just gets kind of clogged with Calhouns and docks, and you end up having to ink a Chernobog's followers when you shouldn't have because you got too many docks and Calhouns. So congrats on the top 4 to Patrick. And then we're going to, at this point, a household name. Zan's been rocking this green steel for a while now.
yeah, and it's so interesting, like his choices of like Merfolk, adding one more dock, cutting a Shmi. I'm shocked on the low number of Gogo. I feel like that card's really good, especially if you're running. He is running that resist card. This is the way I think gives +2 resist, so it gives more of an opportunity of like not taking damage but giving damage. He has the Storm Rage on, um, so you would think like he could gain lore more with the Go-Go.
Yeah, and you're not wrong about that. I just think that in his eyes, he doesn't want his hand with a bunch of Go-Go's, and he can just bounce it back to his hand with muses to like reoccur the effect,
Mm.
maybe. And that would also be like a really awesome interaction that you can have with Doc as well with the muses, where the muses just keeps getting better and better as we have more and more enter the battlefield effects being more and more relevant in the meta, where it's like, oh, if we play Doc and then we bounce it back to our hand and get to reuse the effect, that's when it's good. It's not necessarily always the best just because you can do it one time. It's that these 2 docs in a game could possibly generate you 6 cards.
Yeah, that's an interesting play. Yeah, but often
And
still with the hypnotize and the discard package.
yeah, hypnotize.
Imagine like singing the "I'm Still Here" with the Ursula, like resist 4, 5, 6 on a Kali, and then you get to draw 2. Like it's kind of crazy. It's pretty good. I
Yeah.
like it.
And at the worst, these hypnotizes and the I'm still here's are inkable and they're fodder for Diablos. So if you're in a situation where you don't need the double hypnotize or the double I'm still here, you just ink it. All right. So moving on to the next, Scott. He was in second place at the start of the top 16 as well, which is
Yeah, and was in the
no
finals
joke.
against Ed, which I did get to watch it, and it was a good match. Yeah, I think it's the no Medusa is really cool, and like the Mauis are less, so it's like the game is going towards like you don't have to answer the board every turn. You can actually kind of develop this way to win. And the 4 Sisus is just, I mean, look at Zan's deck. Sisu would just crumble it, really. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Even the Maui's being able to get rid of evasive cards, and buy back your brawls and stuff like that is really good. Just
yeah,
getting to recycle your one hideaway on those pesky libraries.
yeah, and then the visions, the pirate's life, the how far it goes. I like the vital sphere, especially if you're going to be running the shark. Why not?
Pirate's Life also feels especially good when you're casting it in that you're dead to goat plus bounce goat next turn. The only way that you really like effectively stop that is by getting rid of some of their lore. So
Yeah,
one can hope that you get a Pirate's
that's
Life right in that situation to get you one more turn to try to get you that tomato plus dime win the game situation. But very cool to see Blue Red make it to the
yeah,
top four. Being that not a surprise though, because there was six, I believe, in the top 16, five or six, something.
yeah.
Um, and then finally in first place we got Edmund, the man, Ruby Amethyst.
Look right on the top of it. Bang, 5 drops. How many 5 drops does he play?
At that.
0. He
Oh,
does
there's
not
no
care.
there's no anything here, man. What's going on? Where's our Maui's?
Uninkable is at 14. It's kind of brilliant. Like, it's honestly like, imagine how many times Maui kind of messes you. And honestly, it does just sit there a lot of the times.
It's that
Yeah.
fine tuning. It's the fine tuning. It's the knowing that library is good in this tournament at this particular weekend.
Oh,
That
yeah, of
four
course.
Lady Tremaines is better than having Medusas. It's
Especially,
knowing to
yeah.
not have any Mauis and to have two big Sisus that you can shift onto small Sisu. Winning those cheeky games with Flynn Rider. It's and the thing that really throws me crazily is how many one drops he has, because realistically this deck has been pretty solid with their roughly 8 1 drops. There being 12 1 drops in this deck is pretty bananas.
Yeah, I mean, watching the finals, he used the library a lot in late game situations to then move the 1 drops. Or on turn 3, he actually wanted to play 3 1 drops, and now he's playing Rabbit, and now he's playing, you know what I mean? Or he go like 1 drop, Lynn, 2 drop. Sometimes he would bounce if he had to, but usually, yeah, he's dropping all these 1 drops, and then he's going library move, and now you're getting 2 draws off each. Like, it's really good.
Moving Flynn Rider, a very vulnerable card that's like usually their like number one pick. Like, oh, this is gaining them 3 lore every turn. Let me brawl it. Let me kill it some way. And you brought it to the library. You get to draw a card when your Flynn Rider dies. So in that situation, you're like kind of up, because if you gained anything off the Flynn Rider and then he died at library, you got
Yeah.
a card. You got 3 lore. You spent 2 ink on it. You're feeling good.
Yeah, dude.
Three,
And
three.
like they said, like he kind of built it to beat blue red, and you can like see that with like the Lady Tremaines. Obviously, like that last build, you're probably only dropping 1 character at a time. Could you scroll down a little bit more? Yeah, thank you.
The,
You know,
the
like the rabbit is gonna like live in blue red most likely. You know, at
game
least
value.
twice. So, yeah, overall amazing deck. Um, I think this tournament was sick. I only heard good things about it. I'm excited for Worlds and the promos and stuff that they choose to do for that tournament.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. The shifting capabilities of this as well, like being able to bounce double Lady Terrain back to your hand or bounce Sisu plus small Sisu. So, I
Well,
mean,
man, you know, I heard a lot of it was he was shifting on top of it, like you were against me. But
mhm.
like that was like what he was just doing. Like, okay, cool, I'll go that, and then I'll play Flynn. Pass.
Or yeah, or Snake becomes crazy because then you have 2 Lady Tremaines again in your hand. It's very bananas. I mean that's I had done it in a deck with like Arthur, I think it is. The 3 cost bounces it back, and you're just gaining 2 lore and playing Lady Tremaine every turn. You just endless cycle of that or Big Sisu every turn. That's nuts for those aggro decks. You're just gonna put them away. But congrats to all top 4, especially to Ed, and I'm looking forward to the next set of tournaments that they run and all the improvements that they're going to do in the game. I think it's going in a really great direction.
Yeah, and I think this is going to impact set champs a lot.
Oh,
And I feel
I would
like
be
we're
on the
going
lookout on
to
all your
be
set champs for all 4 of these decks to be plastered all over the walls everywhere.
Yeah. I think Steel Song will also be there too.
Oh yeah, and the not songy version of Steel Amber.
Yeah.
A whole bunch of other great decks that were also in the top 16 and probably in this tournament in general. There's probably going to be some few oddball like decks that I will come across throughout the tournament that didn't even make the top 16 that I'm going to be like, oh man, this deck is a diamond in the rough. It just needs like one more set before it's just the deck.
It's called Blurple.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
what you're gonna see
it
me
made the top
talking
16 though. Yeah, it's getting up there. Have to
We got the
find,
Blurple.
find the right tunes of stuff to spread across, but
Yes, sir. But yeah, thank you guys.
thank you.
And we'll see you next time in the workshop.